Good evening. Wow. I'll tell you what, the violence in St. Louis is just off the charts. Right before, like a couple minutes before the show, I had a notification on my phone, KMOV reporting that some guy was shot, another guy was shot over there on some road. Don't know any details. I just saw the notification, and it's like there's just non-stop shootings, it seems like, over there. It's crazy. And I expect it's probably going to get worse. And I think as the days go by with these searing temperatures across parts of the U.S., I do think that the violence will ramp up. That's just kind of usually a goes hand in hand kind of thing. Trying to think if there's like a lot of stuff throughout the day as news was coming out. I was looking at it and it was just like woof. Some pretty serious stuff, and then just other stuff. Just it seems like we're just on a steady course, if you will. Not just us, but other nations. I've got several tabs open, and once again, kind of talking about what's going on with different places. But I can't think of anything in particular. A war ended, and kind of bittersweet. No, I'm not talking about Ukraine or anything related to Ukraine. But another war has ended. And I say bittersweet because I kind of thought it was pretty cool. And I hope that they at least keep it going. I wanted to start out tonight with, and I know I talked about the shooting in St. Louis, but I wanted to start out tonight with a little bit more of an upbeat. I don't know why. I just did, and I ran into this article, and I always, when I first heard about this, which honestly wasn't super long ago, when I first heard about this, I thought it sounded so cool. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan of any government, to be honest, but I'm not a big fan of Canada's government. I don't know a whole lot about Denmark, but I have to hand it to them. I like their gesture. I like what they did. But I damn well hope that they don't really end the war. And I'm going to get into it, what I'm talking about. Some of you may have heard about this. Whiskey war ended by Arctic nations. Canada and Denmark, I'll read the article that'll give you the backstory if you haven't heard. Canada and Denmark have at last officially agreed to split the tiny Hans Island located in the middle of their Arctic border between themselves. Tuesday's binding agreement ends a decades-long territorial dispute dubbed the Whiskey War by the media, with about 60% of the island going to Denmark and 40% going to Canada. The uninhabited half-square-mile island is located in the Kennedy Channel of the Nares Strait, 684 miles south of the North Pole. The channel lies between Greenland's northwest coast and Canada's Ellesmere Island. When the two countries agreed in 1973 to draw a border between the strait or through the strait, they put off deciding who would own the barren land mass in the middle, leading to a series of petty quarrels that came to be known as the Whiskey War due to the bizarre manner in which the nations marked their territory. In 1984, Denmark's Minister of Greenland Affairs kicked off the tradition by raising a Danish flag on the island and burying a bottle of Danish schnapps at its base, accompanied by a note reading, "Welcome to the Danish island." Canada responded in kind, planting its own flag atop a bottle of Canadian brandy. The two countries went back and forth, leaving flags and bottles as they pleased until this year, when they decided the time has come to send an important signal now that there is much war and unrest in the world. It sends a clear signal that it is possible to resolve border disputes in a pragmatic and peaceful way where all parties become winners, said Danish Foreign Minister Jeppe Kofod. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly agreed, noting that when you look at what's going on in the world right now, referring specifically to the conflict in Ukraine, we really wanted to give more momentum and renew our energies to make sure that we would find a solution. The two countries' foreign ministers will exchange bottles of their respective liquors for the last time on Tuesday, officially concluding what Joly called the friendliest of all wars. So I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to start out with that, because I don't know. That is, to me, I don't know. That's cool. I think I'd heard about that once, like a little while back, like long before the Watchman news. But I didn't really look a whole lot into it or anything else. There was a lot of other stuff going on at the time, as I recall. But I heard about it again, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago. And I read into it a little bit more, kind of read the story and all that. And I thought it was kind of cool. Thought it was kind of neat. And just one of those bits of useless information I tucked in the back of my head. And so then I saw that article come up today, and I thought, oh, that's, like I say, it's bittersweet, because I thought that was kind of cool, their little war that they had going on. But their message is definitely, well, by me anyway, well received. I'm not a fan of war, period. I think it's pretty stupid. And the other day, and it was sports related, so I didn't share out the article. And I couldn't tell you what sport it was off the top of my head. I can't remember. But there was a Russian and a Ukrainian competing. And I'm not sure what happened or whatever, but I believe it was I believe the Ukrainian became injured or whatever, and the Russian had offered to help, assistance. And I thought that was pretty cool. Most of us, just people like you and I, we don't have a beef with these other people. Most of us don't have a beef with the citizens of Russia or the citizens of China. Most of us have no beef with those people whatsoever. And, to me, it's just kind of bizarre to think that two quote-unquote appointed, governments can decide they don't like one another and then take their own people and send them to death for whatever ideal. Why? I don't know. I don't get it. I could understand it if somebody had to defend their property. I couldn't, but aside from that, any other reason other than defending your property from somebody else? I don't know. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't agree with it. I don't know. Just one of those things. And I think most people feel that way, to be honest. Let's see. And then swinging the pendulum back the other direction, of course. World War III has been declared, says the Pope. And, I couldn't resist with the thumbnail for the show. I just thought, I can't resist. If there's any pictures of Pope with a transparent background, yep, there was. So it happened. Anyway, this here says Pope Francis has suggested that World War III is already in progress, as evidenced by intertwined elements at work in the Russia-Ukraine crisis and other conflicts across the globe. A few years ago, it occurred to me to say that we are experiencing a third world war fought piecemeal, the head of the Catholic Church said in a May 19th interview with Jesuit media outlets that was published on Tuesday. Today, for me, World War III has been declared. Francis notes that while the fighting in Ukraine pricks our sensibilities more, wars also are ongoing in such places as northern Nigeria and Myanmar, and nobody cares, he added. The world is at war. This is something that should give us pause for thought. Acknowledging criticism for his failure to condemn Russian President Vladimir Putin in his past comments suggesting that NATO expansion onto Russia's doorstep might have provoked the crisis, the pontiff denied being pro-Putin. He said such a claim would be simplistic and erroneous. I am simply against turning a complex situation into a distinction between good guys and bad guys without considering the roots and self-interest, which are very complex, he said. While we witness the ferocity and cruelty of Russian troops, we should not forget the problems and seek to solve them. Asked how the Jesuit editors should report on the Eastern European conflict in a way that contributes to a peaceful future, Francis replied, "We have to get away from the common mindset of Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood was good, and the wolf was the bad guy. Here, there are no metaphysical good guys and bad guys in the abstract. Something global is emerging with elements that are closely intertwined with each other." He also cautioned against focusing only on the brutality and ferocity of the conflict, the danger that is that we only see which is monstrous, and miss the whole drama that is unfolding behind this war, which was perhaps somehow either provoked or not prevented. I also note the interest in testing and selling weapons. It is very sad, but at the end of the day, that is what is at stake. Francis praised the heroism of the Ukrainian people in defending their country, but he pointed to outside interests putting them in peril. What is before our eyes is a situation of world war, global interest, arms sales, and geopolitical appropriation, which is martyring a heroic people, he said. And you know what? I have to agree with that. The pontiff reiterated his concern, first made public in an interview last month, that NATO may have instigated Moscow's military offensive against Kiev. He recalled a conversation with the head of state, whom he identified only as a wise man, a couple of months before the fighting began. He told me that he was very concerned about the way NATO was acting. I asked him why, and he said they are barking at the gates of Russia, and they don't understand that the Russians are imperial and that they will not allow any foreign power to approach them. Francis also warned that after many of Ukraine's Western backers opened their hearts to the women and children fleeing the country in the early days of the conflict, support for its refugees is already cooling down, he added. Who will take care of these women? We need to look beyond the concrete action of the moment and see how we will support them so that they don't fall into human trafficking, or end up being used because the vultures are already circling. Well, why do you have them there? Why, I would ask. For a friend. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what he said, but the ending projection statement, yeah, unreal. But anyway, he did make some good points there. He was accurate in his description of what's going on between the nations, and I think he was pretty accurate, to be honest. I'm not a fan of the Pope, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. Let's see. All right. Ukraine needs customer support for U.S. weapons, says Washington Post. I could just imagine, getting on Amazon, their little assistant, and being like, hey, my javelin won't fire. Anyway, it says here, Ukrainian fighters are struggling to use some of the weaponry provided by Washington to battle Russian forces, including Javelin anti-tank missiles, because the Pentagon has failed to provide training materials, spare parts, and other logistical assistance, the Washington Post reported on Tuesday. Why can't we just send them a bunch of Call of Duty games, right? They'll figure it out. I'm joking. The breakdown stems from an absence of wartime customer service, the types of support that U.S. troops rely on to keep their weapons operable, the newspaper said. Citing interviews with Ukrainian commanders and Western volunteer fighters, the Post gave the example of Javelin missile launchers that couldn't be used because of failed electrical components and poor translation of user instructions. It said, pour the piss out of the bottom of the... I'm kidding. Let's see. My dad used to use that saying all the time. Let's see. We're sending equipment. Volunteer trainer Mark Hayward, a U.S. Army... Damn. A U.S. Army veteran told the media outlet, but we have decided not to do tech support. I mean, really, seriously? You call up tech support? Hey, I wonder... I gotta know this. When they call tech support for a Javelin, do they get an American? I bet they do. That sucks. The Pentagon has sent more than 5,000 Javelin missiles to Kiev as part of Washington's $54 billion Ukraine aid program. The armor-busting projectiles cost around $78,000 each, and the shoulder-fired launchers are priced at about $178,000 according to the 2021 U.S. defense budget. I mean, this is like crazy. Crazy. The amount of money that they're sending over there. And they're, believe me, I've got more to come. They're going to be sending some really high-dollar stuff over. And it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Russia slashes gas flow to the EU. Figured I would share this. Let me have a sip of coffee. Oh, man. Okay, ready, jazz hands, and go. Okay. I don't know why I did that. Let's see. Russian state gas exporter Gazprom announced on Tuesday that it was reducing gas deliveries. Sorry, I don't... via the Nord Stream pipeline after German company Siemens failed to return gas pumping units to its compressor station on time. Just what we want to talk about. Pumping Siemens. Gas supplies in the Nord Stream gas pipeline can currently be provided in the amount of up to 100 million cubic meters per day, the company said in a statement. Given Gazprom's planned daily volume of deliveries at 167 cubic meters, the flow will be cut by 40%. According to Gazprom, 5 out of 8 pumping units taken by Siemens for repair from Gazprom's Port Ovaya compressor station in Vyborg near St. Petersburg were not returned on time. Also, problems arose when the pumping units were connected to the pipeline as their engines had malfunctioned, which prompted industry regulator Roskin, I can't say that, to issue a temporary ban on their use. Currently, only 3 gas compressor units can be used at the Portovaya CS, Gazprom noted. The Nord Stream pipeline, which runs under the Baltic Sea and delivers Russian gas to Europe, connects the Portovaya compressor station in Russia to an equivalent in Greifswald in northeastern Germany. It supplies the EU market with around 55 billion cubic meters of gas per year. Siemens has not yet commented on the situation. The company announced back in March that it would halt equipment deliveries to Russia. Last month, however, it said it would completely withdraw from the Russian market and launch procedures to terminate its business activities in the country. Gas prices in Europe spiked nearly 11% on the news, drawing close to $1,000 per 1,000 cubic meters, according to data from the London ICE Exchange. So, I just want to make note of something here. You know how in the United States, how it seems like policies is doing everything it can to run the country into the ground and create shortages and increase prices. The same thing's happening over there as well. The same thing is happening over there. Different situations, right? You've got the situation here to where, they're not allowing the new leases and stuff like that for the drilling. Of course, the shutdown of the pipelines. I mean, you name it. I mean, if it's anything to do with destroying energy production in this country or from this country, Biden's done it. And it seems like these other nations are falling down the same path. All these nations are in a massive energy crunch right now. And you would be thinking they would be doing whatever it was going to take, put your green idea away for a moment, because people are going to freeze to death. People are going to die from heat exhaustion. It's going to be ugly. Plain and simple, it's going to be ugly. And these countries are literally feeding into the problem, directly feeding into the problem. It's crazy. Anyway, like I said, we're going to take a little tour around, see how things are going in the world. Much the same here as here. German inflation nears 50-year peak. Annual inflation in Germany accelerated to 7.9% in May. Final estimates from the country's Federal Statistical Office show. In May alone, consumer prices rose by 0.9% after jumping 0.8% in April. According to the agency's press release on Tuesday, it's the largest inflationary spike to hit Europe's largest economy in almost half a century. Inflation in United Germany shows a maximum for the third month in a row. The main reason for high inflation is still rising energy prices, which they're continuing to make worse. We are also seeing an increase in prices for many other goods, especially food. The last time such a high level of inflation was observed was in the winter of 1973 to 1974, when oil prices rose sharply as a result of the oil crisis, DeStatus President George Thiel was quoted as saying. Germany is grappling with a cost of living crisis amid soaring global energy prices propelled by Ukraine-related anti-Russia sanctions. Natural gas prices have increased 55.2% compared to May 2021, and fuel prices are up 41%, DeStatus data shows. So they're taking it kind of hard over there in Germany right now as well. And then got this, and it's crazy how all these nations seem to be being thrown back to just about the same era when it comes to financial turmoil. Almost seems like it was, well orchestrated. Let's see. Did I read the headline? UK disposable income to fall at fastest rate since 1950, says a report. I don't know if I did or not. UK is poised to enter a household recession as soaring prices weaken consumer confidence and force people to cut back on spending. That's according to a Confederation of British Industry, a leading business group that speaks for 190,000 UK businesses, in an economic forecast issued on Monday. CBI analysts estimate that due to high inflation, real household disposable incomes will drop by 2.3% by the end of the year, which would mark the largest annual decline since record-keeping began in the mid-1950s. Household recession will come, making business investment even more essential, the group said, explaining that the situation is a result of a historic squeeze in household incomes, which will lower consumer spending. This in turn will weaken GDP growth towards the end of the year and into the first half of next year, the CBI stated. The group lowered its forecast for UK's economic growth to 3.7% this year from its previous estimate of 5.1% and a mere 1.0% in 2023 from 3.0%. High inflation is the primary source of weaker growth. CPI inflation reached a 40-year high in April, 9%, driven higher by a cocktail of challenges ranging from supply chain pressures, rising commodity prices, and war in Ukraine. Don't forget global warming. They forgot global warming. How dare them? How dare them? Biden would not be happy. Caterpillar, a little bit of local news. When I say local, I mean Illinois. Caterpillar to move global headquarters from Illinois to Texas. Probably a good part of the reason is probably our governor. I'm willing to bet it. Global headquarters of Caterpillar Incorporated will no longer be in Illinois. Wednesday, company officials announced the headquarters will move from its current location in Deerfield, Illinois, to the company's existing office in Irving, Texas. Illinois has the biggest concentration of Caterpillar employees anywhere in the world, according to officials. We believe it's in the best strategic interest of the company to make this move, which supports Caterpillar's strategy for profitable growth as we help our customers build a better, more sustainable world, said Chairman and CEO Jim Umbleby. So, yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's crazy. Now, I don't know if they're going to close up operations as far as their plants and stuff. I have no idea what they're going to do. But there again, with all the chip shortages and shortages of everything else, who knows if they're even going to be able to get back up and open and running like they used to begin with. Because I doubt they're putting out much right now, if anything. From what I hear, farmers that are in need of tractors are having a hard time finding tractors. I don't know how true that is. Let's see. U.S., and this I mentioned briefly earlier, U.S. to send heavy guided missiles to Ukraine. Remember, by the way, we weren't going to do that. We were just going to send the launch. Remember that? We were just going to send the launchers. We weren't going to send any of the rockets. We were just going to send the launchers. The rockets were going to come from another country. Uh-oh, I wonder what happened. They changed their mind. U.S. is sending Ukraine heavy guided missiles with a range of 70 kilometers for use with the HIMARS multiple rocket launchers. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Colin Powell, too close to Colin Powell for me, revealed on Tuesday the White House previously said the HIMARS launchers would be provided with battlefield munitions widely understood to be unguided rockets with a shorter range. The high-mobility artillery rocket systems will come with GMLRS guided rockets, Cowell said on Tuesday, speaking at a conference hosted by the Center for New American Security, a Democrat-linked think tank for which he used to work. Sometimes when you see images of MLRS firing off, it's like salvos of multiple rockets going off at the same time. That's really not how this system is meant to operate, Cowell said. The GMLRS is a precision-guided munition, and a big one, a 500-pound munition, he added. Think of GMLRS more like the effect of an airstrike rather than launching off whole salvos. So in other words, you can do a lot with a little, or you don't need a lot to have a significant effect. When the White House first announced it was sending HIMARS launchers to Ukraine on June 1st, it said it would be armed with battlefield munitions, which was widely taken to mean barrage rockets with a range between 32 kilometers and 60 kilometers, considering that HIMARS are also capable of launching ballistic projectiles with a range of up to 300 kilometers. So, and don't worry, next week they'll be giving them those rockets too, so... It's crazy. Nuts, nuts, nuts. All right. Next. Monkeypox to get rebranded, the WHO says. What? Yep. Man. Can I rename it? Let me rename it, please. The World Health Organization is working with partners and experts to produce a new name for the monkeypox virus. Come on, I'm the expert. Let me do it. The head of the UN watchdog, Tedros, whatever the hell his last name is, announced Tuesday. The international body is also considering raising its monkeypox alert to the highest level possible. WHO is also working with partners and experts from around the world on changing the name of monkeypox virus, its class origins, and the disease it causes. We will make announcements about the new names as soon as possible, he stated. The announcement comes after a group of over 30 leading scientists penned an open letter calling for a non-discriminatory, non-stigmatizing nomenclature for monkeypox virus. The group argued that the continued reference to the virus as an African is both discriminatory and inaccurate, suggesting HMPXV as a placeholder name for the monkeypox virus. How in the hell am I supposed to remember that? HMPXV? Don't forget that the H is a small h. That I'm sure that's important because it's quoted that way. So remember that. From now on, don't say monkeypox. See? Hexafoosh, you did it. You said monkeypox in the chat. No. It's little h, big M, big P, big X, big B. Okay? So tomorrow we're going to have a test on this and every one of the 72 genders. So... No, I mean, this is ridiculous. Let me rename it. I'll give it an easy name to remember. Rainbow Bubbles. How about we call it Rainbow Bubbles? That's cute, right? Rainbow Bubbles. I gotta quit. Police ID gunman fatally shot at Texas Children's Day Camp. This was something that had happened, and it's just like, wow, what in the hell is going on in the world? This happened, what was it, yesterday? Yeah. Police have revealed the identity of a man with a handgun they fatally shot at a Dallas area gymnasium where about 150 children were attending a day camp. In a Tuesday statement, Duncanville police say 42-year-old Brandon Keith Ned of Dallas was the man they killed in a Monday morning gunfight at the Duncanville Fieldhouse. The police said no other information would be released at this time, including a possible motive, citing the ongoing investigation by the Texas Rangers. No children, staff, or police were injured in the incident involving the handgun-wielding man. Duncanville police say the man entered the facility's lobby with a handgun and fired a shot during a discussion with a staff member. Police say the gunman then tried to enter a classroom containing children, but the door was locked. He fired one shot into the door. Police say the man then went to the gym, which also contained children. That's when police arrived and shot the man in an exchange of gunfire. So, I don't know, of course, any details at all beyond what I just read you. But I kind of have a suspicion that this guy might have been a father to one of the children. Possibly, for whatever reason, not allowed to see the child. Man, I don't know that that's what this is about or not. And I'm not trying to defend the guy's actions whatsoever. That's not the point of me being curious about that. firstly, maybe we need to stop doing that. Because there are a lot of men that don't have access or fair access to their children. Or any, in my case, no access at all. You know? You shouldn't do that to people. You know, not everybody can keep it together when you just rip their children out of their life. And again, not trying to defend anybody's actions here. But people got to use their damn heads. This is what, as often as it's happening, that's the problem. That's the problem. As often as it's happening, and for the fake excuses that it happens for. Anyway, I won't get on that because I won't ever get off that because that hits home. So, not saying that that's what this is or it has anything to do. I have absolutely no idea. But I can't think any other reason why a man would have, not that I don't know what's going, I don't know the motive. I don't know anything about the situation, but I don't know necessarily that the guy would have had the weapon there to fire on children. Okay, I'm thinking if my suspicion is correct, that the weapon was just so that that adults couldn't prevent him from having access to his child, not that he wanted to harm children. I'm not saying that was the case. I know nothing other than what I read to you. But the reason why it's important that I take a pause and open that up a little bit is because there's all kinds of events that are going on that you never hear a word about, that are 100% associated to what is happening to the fathers in this nation. It is unreal the amount of men that immolate themselves in Washington, D.C. for this very cause. And you never hear about it. You never hear about it. Google it. Google it. You'll be shocked. Because you'll find stories. But you just won't hear it on your average everyday news. It's crazy. It's a discussion that is long overdue. Anyway, I got some headlines for you as usual. Have a few vapes. We'll run through them and sneak out and maybe slam my body up against the wall, see if I can get my back in place. I lifted a battery box. Well, not just a matter of lifting, but I had to kind of lift it and shift it sideways. And, yeah, kind of messed with my back. About 60 pounds worth of batteries. Sitting right under the desk. Fun times. Alright, let's do some headlines and deny we were ever here. Alright, Israel urges citizens to leave Turkish city. U.S. quietly pressing firms to buy Russian fertilizer, says Bloomberg. Russian village shelled from Ukraine, says governor. Trump accuses Democrats of plot. Turkey reveals position on NATO expansion for upcoming key summit. European Commission to support Ukraine's EU candidate status, says Politico. U.S. gasoline prices hit an all-time high, and I didn't put that up with the tabs because I could probably sit there and do that report about every day. So, and since I've already reported on U.S. all-time high gas prices, I figured I would give a day a break. Wall Street stops servicing Russian debt, says Bloomberg. Diplomat slams media silence on Ukrainian shelling of maternity hospital. Date for refloating Russia's only aircraft carrier pushed back. Kiev sets expectations for Scholz' visit. Commander gives estimate on Britain's fighting for Ukraine. Ukraine asks for evacuation from besieged plant, says Moscow. Disposable income in the UK. Oh, actually, I've read that one, or talked about that one. Review of U.S. Air Force transport plane deaths complete. Serbia raises oil supply concerns. Russia condemns barbaric shelling of Donetsk. Strange starquakes discovered by Galaxy Survey. White House addresses age concerns for Biden re-election plans, and he fully plans on running. So, I mean, you could put like a potato. You could just put stew, right? Stew. Some carrots, potatoes, some onions in there with a little bit of beef, and it would totally beat Biden. Stew. Stew. Vote for stew. Let's see. Dozens of new drugs proliferating in Europe, says a report. EU nation rushes to collect firewood amid fuel crisis. Ruble returns to multi-year highs. Zelensky aide explains firing positions in urban areas. Fortunes of world's richest shrunk, says Bloomberg. I'm sure you all believe that. Poll reveals Americans' attitudes to trans athletes. European energy crisis will only get worse, says Medvedev. And, well, yeah, I mean, with their policies, has no place to go but down. U.S. allows energy transactions with sanctioned Russian banks. Russia blacklists British media and military. Caterpillar to move global headquarters from... Oh, I covered that one, sorry. Millions of Canadians believe in conspiracy theories, says a survey. Let's see. Israeli politician wishes for Palestinians to disappear. Ukraine lacks U.S. support to make... Oh, actually, I covered that one. It just says it different on the headline. Japan toughens penalties for online insults. Instagram to control teens' browsing. Pentagon updates U.S. goals in Ukraine. Anti-smoking pioneer to require warnings on individual cigarettes. Yes, that is what they are wanting to do. I think it's Canada. They want it on every single individual cigarette. They want a warning. So not only are you intaking all the carcinogens and all the crap with all the other chemicals that they put in them, but now even more ink you get to smoke along with it. I'm telling you right now, a lot of people that I know, because I used to be a really heavy smoker, and a lot of people that I knew that were smokers, when they started that fire safety crap, they got a cough. And I don't know that, and that could be part of what led to what my issues are. I don't know, but I know several people that when they came out with that fire safety crap on the cigarettes, they started hacking. And I really honestly don't think that that's good for you. I mean, come on. But then again, neither is the urine and everything else they put in the tobacco. So, and yes, they do. It's crazy what they put in tobacco. It really is. When you get a pack of those Marlboros, it's nuts what's in them. Let's see. NATO pledges more heavy weapons for Ukraine. Pro-life Spider-Man arrested in protest stunt. Apparently, I think it was Oklahoma. He went and climbed the tallest building in Oklahoma. Biden angrily denies being reckless spender. Yeah, no, that's not Biden. That's not Biden. Spend all that money, that's not Biden. Sending all that money to Ukraine and all that money printing he did, and not Biden. You kidding me? That's still Trump. Gotta be. It's Trump and Putin. It's crazy. And I don't see much of a way out of it with the trajectory that we've got. You know? I sat and I watched videos throughout the day from different channels. Many I've watched for a long time. Southern Prepper one's one of them. And I just watch, and it's like, I don't forget a lot of this stuff that it gets covered. I've got this weird type of way that I file information in my head. And so as I'm hearing this stuff and taking it in, I remember the stuff from the day prior, the day prior to that, the day prior to that. And as time goes on, I keep hearing all these different reports from all these different industries on all these different problems. It's like, holy hell. There was a guy, I watched a video from a truck driver today that he, I think he was out Colorado area somewhere, and I think he started out his video talking about how he went to go get gas. He couldn't get, or not gas, diesel. He was going to go get diesel. Well, the first place he went to was out of diesel, so, okay, well, he just went on, I guess, down the road, whatnot, came up another place, had diesel, okay, well, got his diesel. And I guess it was getting time for him to maintenance his truck. And so when he tried to get that done, every place he contacted didn't have the oil to do the job. And he's just like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, then there's other reports. I don't know if this came from Southern Prepper 1 or where this one came from. But they were saying that that more or less there's no food to be picked up in a lot of the places. There's truck drivers waiting on loads, and they're not getting them. And that, pretty much we're working down what's in the warehouses from the way that I took it, and that's gone. And I'll tell you what, there's not a whole lot as far as time. If that's the case, if a lot of these companies aren't getting the raw materials to make their products, or they're for whatever reason not able to make their products, it's not going to take long. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested when I do shopping again, what I'm going to run into. I'm going to take a peek real quick before I leave you guys. I'm just going to do it in the back here. I'm just curious if they got anything in with chili beans, because chili is one thing that we eat. and they have been largely out of stock of chili. I see that they've got, oh wow, 30.5 ounce cans. They've got those in stock. That would work. Because you could use like 3 of those puppies. Well, I make a big damn thing of chili, so leave me alone. That's what I got this last time, was Bush's, and I see that they do have them. It's both available for shipping and pickup here local. It's like 111 ounces for $6.14 is what they want. I show those in stock, and to be honest, I kind of like those chili beans. It tasted pretty good. And that ain't too bad. I mean, I'd have to have 3 of the other cans, which are $2 a pop. That's $6 right there. So that saves me opening 1,000 cans too. Anyway, sorry, my second world problems. I can't say first world problems. Oh wait, we might actually be able to start calling that third world problems. Man, it's insane. I mean, I look at what's going on. I know I say this a lot, but I look at what's going on both in this country and internationally, and it's mind-boggling. I would have never believed 10 years ago, I would have never believed that we could have ever been ground down to the spot what we're in right now without something major catastrophic happening, some civil war, some revolution, some global war, they have really ground us down in every way, not only as individuals, but the nation, businesses, especially small businesses, medium businesses. 10 years ago, if you were to describe today to me 10 years ago, I would have never believed it. Because I would have thought that we would have had a much harder fall before that. So, anyway, I am gonna run out of here and relax. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see you then. I hope to see you then. I appreciate you coming tonight. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.